So today on UK Talk Radio, I'm talking to Helen, and we're going to talk about problem solving, helping you move on with your life. Now, Helen, there's two areas that you deal with. The first is holistic. So just so that we can understand what it is, what does holistic mean and how does that work?
Okay, well, the word holistic itself actually stems from the word for whole. So it is all about looking at the whole person, and not just the whole body. It's also the mind, it's the emotions, and it's also the spiritual aspect of ourselves, which we often don't take much attention to. So it's about the whole person.
And the other side is the psychic side. So just again, so that we can understand what that is and what it means, how does that work and what exactly is it?
Okay. Well, we are all linked energetically as creatures. And psychic ability is basically just tapping into those links that we are all connected by. So you can see perhaps what's going on in somebody's life. You can pick up on their feelings. It's like if you walk into a room, a lot of people will say they can feel the atmosphere. That's exactly what it is. It's actually very natural and normal, but a lot of us don't realise actually what it is and that we have it, because everybody does.
Now, Helen, tell us a little bit about what it would be like when somebody comes to see you so that we can kind of demystify the process and understand it. So what actually happens? Obviously, somebody comes in to see you. What's the next stage?
Right. First of all, I would want to find out what it was they were hoping to achieve, the results that they were looking for, or perhaps the experience they were looking for. Some people come to me really not knowing what to ask for. I mean, most holistic therapists or psychics, they may have a list of different things that they can do. And a lot of the names of the therapies sound very strange, things like Reiki, the metamorphic technique. People don't know what they are because they're not as mainstream as they could be. So, first of all, it's a case of sitting down, having a chat, finding out what it is that they want to achieve, and then we can go from there. I can give them some options, some ideas of outcomes that they can get, and, you know, perhaps what might be the best thing to try.
And would typically people come to you if maybe things have, maybe something big has happened in their life, and obviously I guess in most cases something which mightn't be pleasant, and they want to move on from it, they want some answers?
Yes, very much so. I do have a lot of people come to me in emotional crisis. That is my specialty. There's a huge responsibility as well when you're dealing with people in emotional crisis in those very difficult times. So it's my responsibility to really take care of that person and make sure that I'm giving them the best service I possibly can, making sure all their questions are answered and really helping them in the best way possible so they can move forwards and help with the transformation they're looking for in their lives.
And I guess this is a difficult question to answer, but typically how long does it take quite a while to find a solution, or sometimes can it be quite easy?
It can be very simple. It can be as simple as having a card reading. It can be as simple as popping the angel cards out and having an hour's reading. They get all the answers they need, and you can see they look like a different person at the end, happy, relaxed, perhaps reassured. A lot of people are looking for reassurance and perhaps feeling lost or alone in the world because we don't have our communities anymore. We don't have the spiritual groups that we used to have. You know, religion's kind of fallen by the wayside, so we don't have the support. So I guess a lot of people are looking for emotional and spiritual support, and that's what I try to give them.
It's interesting you mentioned that sense of community. I think most of us sort of go outside of our front door and we hardly know who our neighbours are. That has definitely vanished. Now, you mentioned angel cards. So what exactly are they and how would they work?
Oh, right, okay. Well, they're basically divination cards. There's all kinds of different types. Angel cards is just one name for them. You might call them oracle cards or divination cards, or, there are tarot cards, which are a form of oracle card as well. They are all different. I like angel cards because they tend to have nice pretty pictures on them and angels, and I love angels. I work with that beautiful heavenly energy, and they're quite inoffensive and they're not scary, because I know tarot can be quite intimidating for some people. With cards like death coming up, it can seem scary, although it's not really. And they have very gentle, positive, uplifting messages which people usually respond quite well to. So,
and would it work, I mean, you mentioned tarot, would it work in that kind of a way that a card would suggest or hint at something? How do the actual cards work? Is it the same kind of way?
Yes, absolutely, very similar. Yes, but it all depends on the person reading them as well. It's about what the card means to you for that person at that exact moment and what your guides are prompting you to say. The cards are basically a visual support for a mental activity, if you like. When I'm doing any kind of holistic or psychic work, I'm communicating with my spirit guides the whole time. We all have spirit guides. Mine are quite fun. I call them my posse. So I'll be communicating with my posse who are there in the background, nudging me, saying, say this, do that, put that down, stop getting distracted, or whatever, and they will pull me back onto the course I need to say. They'll say to me, say this, don't say that, no, So, and the cards are just there as an additional support, if you like, and it gives the client something to look at as well and something that they can connect with, and it's a nice display tool for them as well, for them to see what's going on. It's almost like a visual representation of my mind process.
I like the posse. I like that. That's good. And again, it makes it a little bit more fun as well. And I'd imagine that in many cases, people are coming for you with things which have got quite a depth to them. So to have that take that edge off, I can see how that would work. And then, so if somebody's looked at a card, is there then a suggestion, something they might try? Would they then come back and see you later on and see how it's going? Is this the beginning of a process?
It can be. For some people, they only want to know as a one-off, but usually something else will crop up, and if they've had, good results and listened to what they've been told, they will usually come back. It's not something you do frequently. It's sort of like a once or twice a year thing, really. It's not something you would want people to become dependent upon, because, that's not what you want. You want independent thought. You want them to be working for themselves, working through their own issues and moving forwards towards their own goals and dreams. And that's the point. That's what I do, is to try and facilitate them moving towards where they want to be in life.
So you're kind of showing them the way, giving them some suggestions, the cards are helping out, and then they just go out and do that and move on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And I love it when they come back to me and say, oh, Helen, I did what you said. Yeah. I did this, I did that, and this happened just like you said it would, and it's wonderful. And I want to know what the next step is now, so let's book another reading. And it's wonderful. And they come in and you give them a big hug, and we just have a wonderful time. And
it must be an amazing thing to do, because obviously you're passionate about it and you like it, and you can see people getting results. And maybe when they first come in, it's an unhappy situation. And then things are starting to improve, and everybody likes to see other people being happy.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I do this to bring joy. I like people to be happy. I like to have fun. I also like it to be not intimidating, because the whole spiritual thing was, the whole New Age movement. I mean, you see hippies with tie-dye, and that doesn't resonate for everybody. And I mean, I'm wearing a suit today, and I come from the corporate world. That doesn't work for me. It has to be modern. It has to be something people can relate to. And my mission, if you like, is basically to demystify the whole holistic world and present it in the sunlight for people to see that it is completely natural and normal, and there are other ways of doing things. The solutions are there, and they can help themselves.
And for you, where did the interest first start?
I've always been absolutely fascinated by everything spiritual, psychic, from a very early age. My mother reports me telling her things age 2 that I couldn't possibly have known. I don't remember that. When I was about 8 years old, I watched a documentary about a lady in Cornwall who's a healer, and I remember thinking, wow, I want to do that. And it wasn't until a bit later on in life I started working with, just picked up a regular deck of playing cards and started working with them as a teenager, giving readings to other kids at school, which they thought was brilliant. And then I discovered Reiki when I was 20, the healing energy, the Japanese healing technique, which is wonderful, and it all went from there.
Brilliant. I mean, it sounds fantastic, and you're obviously passionate about it. As you said, what I like is that your approach is very matter-of-fact, and you are dressed in a business suit. You could almost be going after the business, but which I like. I like that because it's a bit more matter-of-fact. Just to round off, could you give us your website details, please?
Yeah, certainly. My website is angelwingsholistics.com. That's holistics with an S at the end. My name is Helen Crosby. I'm quite easy to find. I'm all over Facebook and Twitter, and I love social media, so please come and say hi.
Brilliant. Thank you, Helen.
Thank you.
It's the best, it's UK's top radio. Your next break or holiday is closer than you think. Think hotel.